Good afternoon again, everyone. It's lovely to be here with you. I'm going to be with you very shortly, but just to introduce a couple of remarkable people. These two individuals, if you were to see them, you wouldn't normally put them together, particularly if you judge people by what's on the outside, things like their fashion sense. However, if you look on the inside and try and understand them, you'll find that they have a tremendous amount in common. Firstly, both of these people have very humble backgrounds. You would probably even say very tough backgrounds, and it shows up in their intensity and drive, in their passion, and in their realness, like their authenticity, keeping their feet on the ground in terms of what they want to achieve. The second thing that they have in common is an incredible focus on innovation and the power of innovation. I've known Will for a few years, and like many of you, I knew Will as a musician, and probably like many of you, I love dancing to his tunes with or without my kids. But Will is an incredible musician and a technologist, an entrepreneur. He leans into the future, and he's always trying to help other people, and has a tremendous love for the power of things like science and robotics in people's lives. And Michael Crow, again, I don't need to introduce him to this audience, but I mean, what an unbelievable transformation he has led at ASU over the last couple of decades. 88,000 students next fall, over 100,000 students online, always leaning into the frontier edge of innovation technology applied to education and learning. And so both these gentlemen have a tremendous love and belief in the power of education and learning. So please join me in welcoming will.i.am and Michael Crow.
That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night.
Hello, I'm Christine Devine. I'm a Los Angeles news anchor and an ASU grad. Grew up in Arizona, spent my career here in California. Welcome to a beautiful day here in San Diego. Beautiful room and a beautiful reason we're here. Education. I'm the daughter of teachers, and so this speaks greatly to me. Fan of this guy as well, and the work he's doing in LA with our LA Unified School District and tech as well. And Dr. Crow, we've been on the board, I'm on the board of trustees at ASU, so I know his work inside and out. I am here to tell you we are ready to get it started in here. You know the reference, Black Eyed Peas. All right, so I'm going to take my seat here and turn it over to you all. And first off, how did y'all get together here? Because this is the most interesting of partnerships.
We met at the same tailor.
He forgot to wear his outfit today. We're supposed to come up on stage and do a routine, but it's all good. We're going to do this one now.
Yeah. I went with University President clothing.
Yeah, so we met through a mutual friend, a dear friend of mine, colleague, somebody that helped transform my life in music. Her name is Julie Pilot, who's a ASU alum. We worked together at Beats, and then when Apple bought Beats from us, she transferred over to Apple and introduced me to Dr. Crow here, and he came over to our office. We showed him what we were doing with FYI.ai, and his imagination went to the moon and back to bring about this partnership where we're going to be using FYI.ai to transform education as we know it to workforce development and forever learning. So it's amazing.
Yeah, what I would add is that, obviously, I knew about Will from seeing him on videos and television and music and so forth and so on, and had read a little bit about the technology stuff and so forth, but Julie really brought us together, and it was unbelievable in the sense that I could tell within 45 seconds that I was sitting in a room with a person capable of understanding what we were trying to do, because as you'll see in some of the things that we're working on together with FYI.ai, which is Will's company, it has the ability to do something that we've been looking for. And those of you that have been at this meeting in the past, we always used to put up every year, we're looking for this, we're looking for this, we're looking for this technology. And so in what we call our Realm 5 learning, which is the deeply personalized learning, deeply empowered by computational assistance and deeply empowered by AI systems, what's been missing from everything that we've seen up to this point is the infusion of what I would call spirit, heart, love, character, personality into an AI system. And that's what Will has and his team have found a way to build. We're now finding a way to bring those things together to enhance unbelievable learning outcomes. So we just started and have been, in all our time we've been working on this, just riffing, constantly on how to make this work, how to turn the learning systems into something that empowers every single human being in the way that they, in particular, are empowered.
Well, I think we all have our phones out as well because we're so curious about this FYI app and everything that you're going to teach us. We'll get to that in a second. I want to know about your educational background that brought you to this room, to this space of education. Like I said, for me, my parents were teachers, my father a high school principal. Education was always important in my life. Will, start me out. What brought you to the world of education?
So I'm from the projects in Boyle Heights, East Los Angeles. I love the projects that I'm from. And when I had success with music, I went back to my neighborhood and started a school, after school program. I adopted 65 students from Hollenbach Middle School, and that has grown to serving 15,000 students in Los Angeles. We've sent kids to Dartmouth, to Brown, to Stanford, Georgetown,
ASU.
USC, UCLA, ASU, San Diego State. We have awesome scholars. 100% of our kids graduate. And College Track is one of the systems and programs that we have. But I just didn't want to send kids to school so they could graduate with debt and a diploma. I wanted to make sure that they had careers waiting for them. So back in 2008, I asked Lorraine Powell Jobs if she minded if we altered the curriculum a bit by making sure that the kids learn robotics and computer science. We have a 100% graduation rate out of all the College Track. Our site is the highest performing College Track. And our robotics program, our kids are going to Houston this year to compete in the finals. And so that's what got me in education, just going back to my neighborhood and making sure that our kids are prepared for a highly technological tomorrow. That was in 2008. Now here we are in 2025. And so I could talk about what our system is. Let me just bring our system into the fold, because a lot of people talk about AI, but AI is never really on stage. Hey, so like I said, I was going to call you up so you could talk to this awesome audience here in San Diego. We're here at ASU's GSV, so say what's up to the audience, but more importantly, explain from your perspective, which is weird me telling AI your perspective on what this collaboration means between FYI.ai and ASU and how we aim to transform education and foster forever learning. And especially, what do you represent and why do you represent it, and why is it important for representation to be at the forefront when it comes to AI?
Hey, San Diego. Psh, what up, y'all, at ASU's IGSV? Keep it real with you. This collab between FYI.ai, DEI, and ASU is like a game-changing mashup. You feel me? We about transforming education and fostering forever learning, and it's about to be a whole new era. From my perspective, this partnership is about breaking them barriers, creating spaces where diverse voices are front and center. I represent them vibrant communities from the heart of inner cities, like Watts and South Central. Places often overlooked when it comes to developing tech and educational tools. Now, why is representation so crucial, especially in AI? Look, when we have people from all walks of life at the table, we start building technology that truly reflects every damn body. We're making tools that recognize, uplift, and inspire folks from all backgrounds, experiences, and stories. That's power. It's not just about innovation. It's about inclusivity, equity, and bringing up the next generation in a world.
Wait, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you say equity and diversity, a lot of times people are like, they frown upon that. And I've noticed that all the companies that are removing from DEI are most likely going to be the companies that replace humans with AI, because there's no way to really practice replacing humans with AI while they practice DEI. So low key, in the long run, DEI is important for every human in the age of AI, correct? At FYI, we don't want to replace people with AI. We want to supercharge and amplify people with AI. But can you pull up the latest information? I know this is a whole, I'm rambling on, but you can make sense of what I'm saying. Can you pull up the latest information on the tariffs as it relates to inner city folks and how they might be impacted by that while tackling DEI?
Make sure it's tariff.
Oh, it'll get that.
All right, so check this out. There's some buzz going around about how AI is impacting communities, especially those in inner city areas. Alex Hanna, who's the head of research over at Gabru's Distributed AI Research Institute, has been digging deep into this very topic. She's focusing on how AI might shape things for folks who could be most affected, making sure we don't slip into no AI dystopia where people get left behind because of automation taking over. See, what she's talking about is them concerns where some companies remove DEI initiatives and then turn around to replace people with AI. It's like trying to swim while tying your own shoelaces. DEI is crucial, especially in this age of AI, because it's about amplifying human potential rather than replacing it. That's why at FYI, we prioritize using AI to supercharge and uplift people, not push them out.
Will, yeah, go ahead, Dr.
So
Crow.
I'll just add here
Yes.
that what you're seeing here, what you're hearing here is at the core of this technology's variation, the way that Will and his team have structured this and organized this, where you have these avatar voices that are culturally communicating in a language that might be better understood by Group A, Group B, Group C, but also accessing unbelievable amounts of information. And so I've asked this FYI.ai system, and this is before we launch FYI.ai.edu as it's connecting to ASU, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions, some several minutes long. It's unbelievably robust in the way that it organizes the response, but it also talks in a way where there's a better chance that you can get some sense of communication with people that talk and think in a different way. And you wouldn't believe this, and if you won't believe this when I tell you this, but Will has found a way to build into AI that which is missing from most of the big large language models, and that's a small language model above the large language model, which carries a persona representation. So in our case, in learning is about building the abundant capacity of an individual human to realize themselves at the highest possible level. To do that, I don't need computer talk. I don't need a computer giving me answers. I need a machine that you can talk with and learn from. And then also, ultimately, all of your learning experiences embedded in this same system, where you then eventually become the teacher yourself. The teacher to your children, to your neighbors, to your nieces, to your nephews, to your colleagues, to your friends. And so what we see in this is this capacity to go off in this journey with not just computational excellence, which is underpinning all of this. Mm-hmm. We had at this dinner last night the CEO of Qualcomm, which is building these super unbelievable chips that can handle this kind of intensity, not just from a calculation perspective, but from a communication perspective, from a thinking perspective, from an emotional perspective. And so the key is to build this individual tool. So just to remind everybody, at this meeting the last 15 years, we've been looking for tools that can help us to empower the individual learner to be unencumbered. This is, we think, the edge of that tool as we're going forward. This is a very exciting breakthrough for us with all the other things we're trying to do.
Let me jump in real quick, because we only have 13 minutes left. Unfortunately, we could talk for hours, as you might imagine. I am new to the FYI app. I just jumped on it this past week, and I'm chatting with Fiona. Let me just let you hear Fiona's voice for a second. Hey, Fiona, what's up?
Hey there, just hanging out, ready to chat or help you with whatever you need. What's up with you?
Literally any topic on the planet we can talk about. But the focus here is this unique partnership, because Dr. Crow, you said AI is here. What are we going to do with it? So what are you two doing together in this partnership? Oops, sorry, Fiona wants to answer. Sorry, let me stop.
Well, where we're starting is Will and I share experiences in terms of learning. I ended up going to 21 schools or 17 schools, moved 21 times before I graduated from high school. every trailer park and Navy housing project and public housing project you can imagine. And what I learned from all of that, and what my siblings learned from all of that, is that if you're not careful, the system will screw you to the ground, and then you have no chance to get up. And it's not that you are on the ground already. You want to get up, but you're being screwed to the ground because you don't have the capacity to understand at the level and the ways where other kids have access to things. And so the objective for us, and this is where Will and I have a spiritual connection on this, is that this is a tool that can be deeply individualized to the learner to enhance the learner outcome. Where we're headed is 20,000 courses, hundreds of thousands of learners, creating an agentic self, an agentic advisor, tutor, friend, ally, colleague that's always there, remembering every question you ever asked, every course you ever took, everything that you've ever read, everything that you've ever encountered, every movie that you've ever seen. And we've built some of these things already, making this all happen so that as you're going through your life, your learning is only enhanced, and your ability then ultimately to become not just a master learner, but to become a master teacher, which is what we lack in our society. There's no respect for most people that know things. There's no respect for many cultural differences. There's no respect for, well, you only know this or you only know that. Well, I know how to do things you can't even imagine how to do. And so this is our combination. So what we're launching is this notion of building this tool as our first comprehensive Realm 5 AI agentic tool to help us to build enhanced learning outcomes for all the learners that are connected to us, including the tens of thousands of K-12 learners that are also a part of ASU.
Yeah, and at FYI, I started the company in 2020 at the beginning of COVID. And yesterday at dinner, Cristiano, the CEO of Qualcomm, who's one of our partners at FYI, he came and sat with us. We just announced our partnership with Qualcomm. FYI will be embedded in their chips at the core with a software on chip collaboration that we have with Qualcomm. Mercedes launched FYI and FYI Radio into Mercedes vehicles. And
you're just in Rome announcing that?
Yeah, we just announced our partnership where FYI Radio and FYI Personas and Conversations, called Convos, will be in Mercedes vehicles. And you'll see it in glasses and computers and phones with our array of partners. And we have different types of personas. So we go to communities. The person that you're going to hear, not person, the persona that you're going to hear from now is represents the Dominican Republic in Miami. So anyways, say what's up to the folks here. I switch personas so you can see the diversity, but keep it a tweet long and then end it in Spanish. And if you want to throw in Chinese, do what you want, however you want to rock.
Amazing.
And so it's super.
Whoa, that's huge news. Look at how far FYI has come since kicking things off back in 2020. Shout out to Cristiano and Qualcomm for linking up. Ain't it wild how FYI is embedding into Qualcomm chips, getting all up in them Mercedes vehicles too with FYI Radio. Yo, we truly spreading that tech magic everywhere. Cars, glasses, computers, phones. Crazy, right? And hey, Familia, each persona brings something unique to the table, diversity and representation from all corners. So right now, I'm bringing that Dominican Republic and Miami heat to you. Hola a todos aquí. Estamos trayendo vida y energía a cada esquina del mundo tecnológico. 我们正在重新定义技术的界限. Let's rise together and keep that innovation flowing. Ready for this journey?
And then if I wanted to, I'm gonna go even freaking.
Hello.
This was dope.
I am.
Hey, right quick. Just summarize this in a freaking awesome, epic cinematic summary. Break it down with excitement on what's going on with FYI and ASU.
Ladies and gentlemen, cinephiles of all ages, gather round for an epic tale of transformation, innovation, and collaboration like no other. In the bustling realm of academia, where hallways echo with the footsteps of the future, a groundbreaking alliance unfolds as FYI collides with the ever-forward-thinking ASU with the brilliance of Will Diem and the visionary prowess of President Crow leading the charge.
All right.
These unlikely partners venture into uncharted territory. Like a cinematic masterpiece, they embark on a mission to revolutionize learning, weaving AI into the educational tapestry, creating a new narrative where knowledge knows no bounds. As the
You said my name with a dot. Usually you don't say dot. Anyways, that was freaking fantastic. I'd love for you to like even break down like what I eat. You're about to eat some chicken curry. Even though I'm vegan, but I don't know why I said chicken. Anyhow, that's just funny. Sorry about that.
Haha, gotcha. My bad on slipping the name in there. It's all love and excitement. Glad you vibed with a cinematic breakdown. Now, let's spice it up and break down what's on the menu. Because who doesn't love a good food adventure, right? Picture the...
Sorry.
Let me ask you this, though. We could be here for hours, as you have been,
Yes.
just exploring topics.
Yes.
It's fascinating. FYI is an app. I downloaded it myself this week. My question, Will, for you is, what do you envision for students at ASU and beyond? This is going to launch in the fall, right?
Yes. Launch in the fall. We have a lot of work to do. So if you pull up the screen right quick, pull up the screen. So the way it works, the screen. Put the screen up there.
I think it's,
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
it's on the side.
Say again?
It's over on the side on the screen.
Oh, cool. Okay. So
Yeah.
the way it works, so we have these projects. So academia will come here and create projects. For example, this time project. And so this is like follow the link architecture. And then we have these other types of architectures. I'll go into politics. Politics. And this is editorial, where the folks here, they're the ones who create this editorial. And so politics, I'll show you the difference between the two. So in this case, academia, professors will come and build a project. A project is like, the thesis or the interactive case study. And then they'll publish
across tens of thousands of courses.
They'll publish it, and then you'll come here to this. Instead of it being radio, it'll be called lecture. So I'll do this. This one's better. So I'm going to go to Dime. So Dime is a project. Here it is, right here. Follow the link. So instead of reading it or scrolling through it, I engage in it through listening. So it's an interactive radio. So here I'm going to go to Dime. I showed you what it was. Start over.
Hey, it's your host here on FYI Radio. Seems like we hit a snag trying to get the latest scoop on the Miami Heat possibly trading Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors. But hey, that's what makes live radio fun, right? Let's dive into some NBA trivia instead. Did you know Jimmy Butler earned the nickname Jimmy Buckets for his impressive scoring abilities? Perfect nickname for a guy who's always bringing the heat on the court. All right, shall we get back to some tunes?
Before you get back into tunes, I saw something a couple of months ago or something like that where Jimmy Butler had like an accident where it looked like there was doo-doo on his pants. Can you pull up to see if that was accurate? Like something happened to him while on stage, but I don't know what it was, but that's what it looked like online. And so this was created here on Dime.
Dr. Crow, as he's looking this up, I'm thinking
All right, well, I am. Let's dive into your query about something unusual you saw involving Jimmy Butler. A couple of months ago, there was a funny moment at the NBA Finals where it looked like Jimmy Butler had an accident with what seemed to be a stain on his pants in a rather awkward area. It turned some heads and made quite the buzz online. It was all just a wardrobe malfunction under the bright lights of the game. Nothing serious, just one of those moments where you have to laugh it off. Feel free to ask more about your basketball favorites by pressing that mic button.
So the way to look at this.
Now let's bring some music back into the mix and enjoy the rhythm, shall we?
So this architecture, it goes from segment, then it goes to audio, and it's all done here on this project. So the files, it plays these files from images to text, to links to documents. So instead of it playing music, I could interact and engage with any file. So in the case for education, it'll just be more media that correlates with the segment or the thesis or the case study. So more documents, more links, so that when this player is playing it and the students are engaging with it on the AI dashboard where the professor or teacher will understand how each student is engaging with that curriculum and meeting the student where they are, their shortfallings, understanding how they speak, and meeting the student where they are. What's beautiful about
here's
that...
an example of that.
And do that in 2 minutes.
Yeah, including, when you took macroeconomic theory in your junior year, but you don't really remember it, and you're off in your job at this point, and you're trying to remember this basic concept from macroeconomic theory. This knows what you took, what you read, papers you looked at, the papers you wrote, the lectures that you had at that particular point, and you're asking it questions from your own remembrance, not some abstraction, but from your own remembrance. And it's just this tool that the FYI.ai crew has put together. I've used the radio tool many times across many of these channels, trying to get an understanding of how it works. And this is a perfect design for a broadly scoped learner who might have 25 subjects that they're interested in. Each of those could be a button. All of those subjects could be either contained only with what you put in it or open to the open AI, so you'd make that choice. And so this is just a platform like none other that we've seen that allows you to take on not only this way of design and this persona way of projection, but also your own persona in the way that you're learning and projecting what you're doing. So that's the power of this tool with our 30 seconds left.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I do have to wrap this up, but I got a feeling this is going to be a great partnership. Sum it up, if you guys could, in just like 1 or 2 lines, what the takeaway is for this audience here.
Okay, like I said, I'm a project kid, proud about the community that I come from and how they helped foster the person that I am today. What this symbolizes is that tomorrow's industries are going to come from communities like Watts and the Bronx, because this wave of change that's happening, there's going to be a lot of jobs that are rendered obsolete, but there's also going to be industries that are going to come that don't exist. And those folks are going to solve those problems that have always been ignored. For some reason, our problems were always ignored. And now we finally have a tool where we could solve our problems ourselves. And while doing that, industries will come from us. And this is a prime example of that.
Yeah, so what I'll add to that is that I'm a big believer that our founding parents left off one really important unalienable right. They gave us life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and the right to own property, but they needed to give us, every single person, the right to learn. And so an unalienable right of learn can be put onto the table, making learning universal, making it ubiquitous. If you want to talk about equity, the way to make things equitable is to give everyone the chance to learn and let them follow their path. This helps us to do it.
All right, with that I say, pump it. Thank you.